Do you know who the president of North Korea is? If you guess Kim Jong Un, you're right, but this is no ordinary leader. Known for his shrewd political maneuvers and a web of international connections that make even the most powerful nations wary, Kim Jong Un commands attention on the global stage. But behind the polished propaganda and calculated charm lies a reality far more unsettling. What exactly is hidden beneath his carefully constructed image? What dark truths lie in the shadows of this enigmatic leader's reign? Let's delve deeper and uncover the hidden side of his rule. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea was established on September 9, 1948, under the leadership of Kim Il-sung, who served as the country's premier from its founding until 1972, and then as president until his death in 1994. Following Kim Il-sung's death, his son, Kim Jong-il, assumed power, leading the nation until his own death in 2011. Kim Jong-il's tenure was marked by significant economic challenges, including a severe famine in the 1990s. In response, he implemented limited economic reforms, such as the 2002 landmark socialist-type market economic practices, which introduced elements of market mechanisms into the economy. These reforms allowed for small-scale bartering and trade, aiming to alleviate economic hardships. However, the effectiveness of these measures was limited, and the country continued to face economic difficulties. On December 17, 2011, North Korean leader Kim Jong-il died of a heart attack at the age of 69. His death prompted a nationwide outpouring of grief, with state media reporting that millions of North Koreans were engulfed in indescribable sadness. Images showed citizens weeping openly in the streets, reflecting the deep impact of his passing on the populace. The succession of Kim Jong-un. Initially, Kim Jong-il's eldest son, Kim Jong-nam, was considered the heir apparent. However, in 2001, he was caught attempting to enter Japan with a forged Dominican Republic passport, reportedly to visit Tokyo Disneyland. This incident led to his estrangement from the succession line. Subsequently, Kim Jong-il's youngest son, Kim Jong-un, was groomed for leadership. In September 2010, Kim Jong-un was unveiled as his father's successor during a significant Workers' Party conference, marking the beginning of his ascent to power. Following his father's death, Kim Jong-un officially assumed leadership of North Korea in December 2011. The regime orchestrated a massive propaganda campaign to solidify his authority, with state media urging citizens to pledge allegiance to the great successor. Kim Jong-un took swift action to consolidate control over the military, emphasizing the importance of loyalty to his leadership. This approach underscored his commitment to maintaining the regime's stability and continuity. Kim Jong-un, the supreme leader of North Korea, pursued part of his education in Switzerland during the late 1990s. Enrolled under the pseudonym Pak-un, he attended the International School of Bern, a private English-language institution catering to the children of diplomats and expatriates. His classmates recall him as a reserved individual with a passion for basketball, particularly admiring NBA player Michael Jordan. He was also noted for his collection of expensive sneakers and a fascination with action films. Upon assuming leadership in 2011, Kim Jong-un initiated several economic reforms aimed at improving North Korea's domestic situation. He introduced elements of market mechanisms, allowing for limited private enterprise and small-scale markets, which marked a departure from the strictly centralized economic policies of his predecessors. These changes were intended to stimulate economic growth and enhance the standard of living for North Korean citizens. Internationally, Kim Jong-un's regime has continued to develop its nuclear and missile programs, conducting numerous tests that have raised global concerns. This military assertiveness, coupled with the regime's unpredictability, has compelled other nations to approach North Korea with caution. The combination of military capabilities and a willingness to defy international norms has positioned North Korea as a significant player on the global stage, despite its relatively small size. The hidden power behind Kim Jong Un. Ri Sol-ju, the wife of North Korean leader Kim Jong Un, wields a quiet yet undeniable influence over the country's diplomacy and cultural identity. Thought to have been born in the late 1980s into a well-connected family, her mother reportedly heads a gynecology ward, while her father serves as a professor. Ri's artistic background as a vocalist with the prestigious Unhazu Orchestra and her rumored studies in China highlight her cultural sophistication. This foundation has allowed her to navigate the unique role she occupies with poise and influence. Known for her elegance and intelligence, Ri Sol-ju has become an indispensable figure in North Korea's diplomatic engagements. Her presence at critical events, such as meetings with Chinese President Xi Jinping and his wife Peng Liyuan during pivotal state visits, demonstrates her role as more than just a ceremonial partner. Her ability to engage in diplomatic settings with grace underscores her deep understanding of international protocols, solidifying her position as a crucial support to Kim Jong Un in advancing North Korea's image abroad. Beyond diplomacy, Ri Sol-ju has emerged as a symbol of modern North Korean femininity, subtly redefining traditional gender roles. Her fashion choices, ranging from tailored suits to luxury handbags, have influenced women across the country, blending contemporary aesthetics with the regime's values. By doing so, she projects an image of progressiveness that aligns with the state's efforts to modernize while preserving its unique cultural identity. This careful balance between tradition and modernity makes her an aspirational figure within the rigid confines of North Korean society. Kim Jong Un, the leader of North Korea, is believed to have 3 children with his wife, Ri Sol-ju. Reports from South Korean intelligence suggest that the children were born in 2010, 2013, and 2017, although their names and details remain largely shrouded in secrecy, in line with the regime's tightly controlled narrative. Among the 3, Kim Ju-ae, the middle child, has emerged as the most publicly known and prominent. Her first public appearance in November 2022, when she accompanied her father to witness a missile launch, marked a significant moment, as it was rare for any of Kim Jong-un's children to be seen in such a high-profile setting. Kim Ju-ae's appearances at key events further illustrate her father's apparent favoritism and the symbolic role she may be developing. She has been seen at military banquets, missile test inspections, and other major state functions, often alongside both Kim Jong Un and Ri Sol-ju. These appearances are highly orchestrated, showcasing a strong bond between the leader and his daughter while subtly reinforcing the dynastic nature of the Kim family's rule. Analysts have speculated that her frequent presence at such events could signify that she is being positioned as a potential successor, or at least a significant figure within the regime. Challenges and triumphs. Kim Jong Un's ascent to power was met with widespread doubts about his ability to lead, given his youth and inexperience. However, these uncertainties fueled his determination to solidify his authority and silence critics.
우리 자녀들을 훌륭히 키워 우리들 모두의 집안의 일입니다.
One of his first and most shocking moves to consolidate power came in 2013 with the dramatic purging of his uncle, Jang Song-thaek. Once considered the regime's second most powerful figure, Jang was accused of treason and executed. This ruthless act not only demonstrated Kim's resolve but also sent a chilling message to potential rivals within his inner circle.
대할 수 없는 것들입니다.
The execution reverberated across North Korea, instilling a climate of fear among both the political elite and the general population. Citizens were reminded of the regime's unrelenting grip, while government officials were shown the severe consequences of dissent.
인민의 안전, 생존권을 수호하여 우리는
This display of cruelty underscored Kim Jong Un's intent to leave no room for opposition, consolidating his control over the state machinery and ensuring the continuation of the Kim dynasty.
It's a fragile thing. More fragile than...
Simultaneously, Kim began amplifying his public image through a carefully constructed cult of personality. State propaganda exalted his leadership, portraying him as a visionary successor to his father and grandfather. His likeness became a ubiquitous symbol of loyalty, with pins, portraits, and monuments reinforcing the narrative of his infallibility. These efforts were part of a broader strategy to solidify the ideological dominance of the Kim dynasty and ensure unwavering allegiance from the populace. A cornerstone of Kim's strategy to assert his authority both domestically and internationally was his aggressive promotion of North Korea's nuclear program. Under his leadership, the country conducted numerous missile tests, declared itself a nuclear power, and defied international sanctions. These actions bolstered his image as a fearless leader who could stand up to global powers, particularly the United States and South Korea, while deterring external threats to his regime. In 2018 and 2019, Kim Jong Un embarked on a groundbreaking diplomatic campaign, meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump in historic summits that sought to address denuclearization and the easing of tensions. These meetings, coupled with his summit with South Korean President Moon Jae-in in 2018, showcased his ability to engage in high-stakes diplomacy. The Panmunjom Declaration, signed during his meeting with Moon, signaled a commitment to peace and denuclearization, though subsequent tensions have complicated progress. Despite these diplomatic overtures, relations between North and South Korea have since deteriorated, with stalled negotiations and renewed military provocations. The fragile peace has been overshadowed by the specter of war. As North Korea continues its weapons testing and South Korea bolsters its defenses with U.S. support. This tense dynamic reflects Kim Jong Un's readiness to challenge global powers and assert North Korea's sovereignty, regardless of the risks involved. Kim Jong Un, scandals and ruthless power. So with a small and isolated country like North Korea, how have they managed to sustain their economy amidst international sanctions and limited resources? The answer lies in a labyrinth of covert operations, one of which involves the use of overseas restaurants as fronts. Under Kim Jong Un's regime, these establishments are not mere culinary ventures but strategic hubs designed to generate revenue, gather intelligence, and evade the tightening grip of global sanctions. The existence of these restaurants exemplifies North Korea's resourcefulness and determination to sustain its regime by any means necessary, often blurring the line between business and espionage. Kim Jong Un's administration strategically situated these restaurants in countries like China, Thailand, Cambodia, and even the United States. The U.S., despite being a sworn adversary of North Korea, offers the opportunity to operate discreetly in certain cities with diverse populations and tourist attractions. These locations are carefully chosen for their potential to attract international customers and their relative ease in blending into multicultural culinary landscapes. However, the allure of North Korean cuisine is not the real draw. The staff, all North Korean nationals, lack professional culinary skills but serve another purpose. They are either trained spies or facilitators of financial fraud, executing covert operations under the guise of running a restaurant. The spies stationed in these restaurants use their positions to gather sensitive information. For example, they may discreetly extract details from officials dining at their establishments or leverage their interactions to build relationships that can yield valuable intelligence. At the same time, these restaurants are often sites of illegal transactions, including cash-only sales to obscure their revenue streams and remittance schemes where workers send earnings back to Pyongyang. By funneling money home through untraceable channels, North Korea sidesteps international financial restrictions, ensuring a steady flow of funds for the regime. A specific incident in the United States sheds light on the true nature of these operations. Despite offering a lavish menu and well-furnished premises, a North Korean restaurant in a metropolitan area had almost no customers, raising suspicion. Investigations revealed it was a cash shop, a front for laundering money and facilitating underground transactions. These discoveries highlight North Korea's reliance on such networks not only for financial gain, but also as a shield for clandestine activities. The operation underscores Pyongyang's willingness to exploit every opportunity, no matter how unconventional, to sustain its economy and regime, illustrating the lengths to which the country goes to bypass international scrutiny. One of the most alarming aspects of North Korea's covert operations is its notorious counterfeiting of currency, specifically high-quality counterfeit US dollars. Known as superbills, these counterfeit notes are so expertly produced that they are nearly indistinguishable from authentic US currency. With advanced printing techniques, precise replication of security features, and high-grade materials, North Korea has set a new standard in counterfeiting, posing a significant challenge for global financial systems. The origin of North Korea's counterfeiting operation dates back to the late 1980s, during the reign of Kim Jong Un's predecessors. The regime recognized the potential of counterfeiting to destabilize foreign economies while generating revenue for its isolated and heavily sanctioned government. Today, under Kim Jong Un's leadership, these operations continue with remarkable sophistication. Analysts estimate that hundreds of millions of counterfeit dollars may be in circulation worldwide, although exact figures are difficult to determine due to the quality of the forgeries. So how does Kim Jong Un ensure these counterfeit dollars find their way into global circulation? The regime employs a variety of money laundering strategies to smuggle these counterfeit notes into legitimate financial systems. Networks of intermediaries, often involving rogue states, criminal organizations, and even unsuspecting individuals, are used to distribute the currency. These operations rely on a mix of under-the-radar transactions, exchanges through informal networks, and covert dealings in markets that lack robust regulatory oversight. Money laundering serves a critical purpose for the North Korean regime. So do you have any idea what the goal behind this money laundering scheme is? The answer lies in its strategic use to fund government activities, sustain military programs, and finance the extravagant lifestyles of the country's elite. These funds have been used to maintain the regime's control over its population, invest in weapons development, and project an image of power to the world. This financial lifeline enables Kim Jong Un to defy international sanctions while sustaining his grip on the country. The impact of these operations extends far beyond North Korea's borders. High-quality counterfeit dollars have been detected in various countries, including the United States, Japan, and parts of Europe, undermining trust in financial systems. Banks and financial institutions, despite their rigorous checks, are occasionally duped into accepting these notes due to their near-perfect replication. The introduction of counterfeit currency into global markets creates financial imbalances, disrupts economic stability, and erodes confidence in monetary systems. Despite global sanctions and international pressure, Kim Jong Un continues to demonstrate his resilience and audacity. The ongoing production and distribution of counterfeit currency highlight his refusal to succumb to economic isolation. Instead, it reflects a reckless and calculated defiance, where the North Korean regime manipulates vulnerabilities in the global financial system to sustain its operations. This audacious strategy underscores the lengths to which Kim Jong Un is willing to go to maintain his regime's survival and dominance. One of the most striking aspects of the North Korean regime under Kim Jong Un is its duality of cruelty and humanism as it exploits its own citizens through forced overseas labor. This strategy, disguised as a means of providing economic opportunities, reveals the empire's calculated use of its people as tools to generate revenue. By sending North Korean workers abroad under tightly controlled conditions, the regime not only suppresses individual freedoms, but also secures a significant financial lifeline to sustain its authoritarian rule. To minimize the risk of defection or international scrutiny, Kim Jong Un strategically deploys North Korean citizens to countries with lenient sanctions or cooperative relationships with Pyongyang. These include Russia, China, and certain nations in the Middle East and Africa. Here, North Korean workers are employed in grueling industries such as construction, mining, and factory work, performing physically demanding tasks often under hazardous conditions. Perhaps many think that escaping North Korean territory would allow these citizens to experience freedom and escape the oppressive culture of their homeland. But another force looms heavily over their lives. Far from gaining liberty, these workers remain under strict control through a system of isolation and surveillance meticulously maintained by the regime. North Korean officials stationed abroad monitor the workers closely, ensuring they remain loyal and preventing any interaction with local populations that could expose them to alternative worldviews or opportunities to defect. This control extends to purges of those deemed disloyal or at risk of dissent. Workers are often indoctrinated to hold Kim Jong Un in high esteem, with loyalty to the regime drilled into them as a core value. They are prohibited from forming personal relationships with locals, living instead in isolated compounds with limited access to the outside world. Their movements are monitored, their communications restricted, and their freedoms curtailed to ensure absolute obedience. Despite these oppressive conditions, North Korean workers endure excessive labor, driven by a deep sense of obligation to their homeland or fear of retribution against their families back in North Korea. These individuals typically work long hours, often exceeding 12 hours a day, with minimal rest and inadequate pay. However, even the meager wages they earn are not theirs to keep. The North Korean government confiscates a significant portion, funneling it back to Pyongyang. This seized income serves a grim purpose. It funds the regime's military ambitions, particularly its nuclear weapons program. By exploiting its citizens abroad, the North Korean government circumvents international sanctions and ensures a steady flow of cash to support its weapons development and other state functions. This strategy underscores the regime's indifference to the suffering of its people, prioritizing political power and global defiance over human welfare. Kim Jong Un's exploitation of overseas workers highlights his cruelty not only to the international community, but also to his own citizens. By stripping his people of their freedoms, dignity, and fair compensation, he enforces a system that thrives on human suffering. This dual oppression, where individuals are both exploited and surveilled, paints a harrowing picture of the lengths the North Korean regime will go to maintain control and sustain its grip on power.